angels. That's a loaded subject for me. I actually, this goes way back. Growing up, I didn't really believe or disbelieve in angels. I just know that when I would see like the little cherubs and stuff, like the cartoon stuff, I was horrified by that. So I always had a very strong reaction. And I can't say I've ever chased the idea of angels, but I absolutely have interacted with them. Through many, many different experiences over the years. It was a bit of a shocker when I first started. I've gotten much more used to it, much like when I see spirit, I kind of take it in stride. It's kind of par for the course. But, angels, they started showing up one day behind a client. They're usually varied in size. There's different, what do you call jobs that they have, that kind of thing. But I think for me, to get over into the belief that angels really are real, I think the biggest one was, of course, consistency in readings, but it was when angels would show up behind people and then they would tell me the story in my mind's eye or in my head of how they saved that person's life. And to give a couple of examples of that, I had a client sitting across from me and the angel was telling me about saving this person's life, and how it came out of my mouth was, I looked at the person and went, "Do you have a scar on that knee?" And she was like, "Which knee?" Because she was wearing pants. I'm like, "That knee." And I pointed to it and she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Did you get the scar on your bicycle where you almost went over a cliff?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't go over the cliff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And she was like, "Yeah, actually I did." And I said, "Oh." And then I explained to her why that was and what that happened. And so how would I know that, if it wasn't presented to me, right? And so, these kind of stories are what leads me to understand that they really do exist, among many other experiences I had just in that one, that I can't deny. And I'm a very logical, analytical, skeptical person. I know that always shocks people when they hear what I do. But repeatedly, they've told me about when they've saved people. I had another example of a client sitting across from me, and I said, "You have a sister?" And she said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "You were at the age of 8 and you were on a toboggan, and you and your sister were going down the hill, and I don't quite understand this, but your angel's behind you." And it literally is showing me that he's putting his hand in front of the eyes or in front of the face of either the two of you or one of you, I can't tell. "Can you explain to me what happened?" And her eyes widened and she went, "Oh, I totally know what happened." I said, "Okay, please tell me." And she said, "We were tobogganing," and you're right, we were about 8 years old, I guess. She said, "We were tobogganing and my sister was in the front and we went down the hill and it was icy, so we went a little faster than normal and we went past the point where the toboggan run ends and we went right into the forest, and it turns out that the lands beside it had barbed wire fence, and our toboggan stopped right at the barbed wire, and the barbed wire was literally across the forehead of my sister, and we still to this day don't know how it stopped in time that it didn't take her eyes out." And I said to her, "Well, we kind of do now. We kind of know now." The angel had placed his hand there in protection to make sure that you guys didn't run into that and didn't have that experience. So, these kind of stories, these kind of moments that have made me pause over the years and really reconsider, whether or not, is it my imagination? Am I really talking to an angel? And then I've had, once you get to the idea that that belief is possible, then it opens up the door for so much more. You start having more interactions. You start being able to interact with them where you can actually ask them questions and find out about very large life plan things, that kind of thing. So for me, the idea of angels was quite foreign to me. I was uncomfortable with it. I've had to grow comfortable with it, whether I like it or not sometimes. And in readings and sessions, should that be needed, they get presented or they get asked about, I absolutely access that. But it's not my mainstay. It's not my thing. So I don't really talk about it. I don't advertise it, that kind of thing. It's just part of naturally who we are. We all have access to this realm, and whether or not you invite that in is up to you.